So if you're a founder or an entrepreneur, you know the struggle. You have this incredible idea, but how do you get honest feedback on it? Well, today we're going to dive into the mom test, which is this really powerful method for uncovering the truth, even when everyone around you is trying to be nice. All right, let's just get this out of the way. This question right here, it is the single worst question you can possibly ask when you're trying to test an idea. It's a total trap, and it pretty much guarantees you're going to get bad information that sends you sprinting in the wrong direction.
And why is that? Well, it's because people, especially the ones who care about you, like your mom, they are hardwired to be supportive. They're trying to protect your feelings, not your business. But here's the thing. Your job isn't to collect compliments. Your job is to find the truth. And asking the wrong questions just invites these polite but totally useless lies.
I absolutely love this metaphor from the book because it frames these conversations perfectly. You see, you're not pitching for a thumbs up. You're an archaeologist. You are carefully, gently brushing away all the politeness and the opinions to uncover the hard facts that are buried underneath. Okay, so how do we become better archaeologists? That's exactly what the mom test is all about. Think of it as a simple but really powerful toolkit for getting to that fragile truth. The whole test really just boils down to 3 core rules. First step, you've got to talk about their life, not your idea. You're there to investigate their problems. Second, you ask about specific things they've done in the past, not their vague opinions about the future. And third, and this one is absolutely crucial, you have to talk less and listen more. Your goal is to learn, not to sell. And here's what those rules look like in the real world. The bad questions, you'll notice, are hypothetical. They're just fishing for compliments. But the good questions, they're about concrete past behavior. You're not asking if they would buy a cookbook app. You're asking what cookbook they actually bought. See the difference? One path leads to false hope. The other leads to real, actionable insight. Okay, so you're asking good questions, but bad data can still sneak its way in. So now we've got to play defense. We need to learn how to spot and deflect the useless information people will give you, even when your questions are perfect. This brings us to the biggest trap of them all, compliments. Man, they feel fantastic, don't they? But they are fool's gold. They are shiny, they're distracting, but they provide zero useful data. In fact, they can convince you you're on the right track when you're actually headed straight for a cliff. Your job is to constantly reframe questions to get facts, not opinions. So don't ask what they think. Ask them to walk you through something that actually happened. You are digging for evidence of their problems, and that evidence lives in their past behavior. And the same exact principle applies to the future. You know, people are just terrible predictors of their own behavior. Asking, "Would you buy this?" just gets you a hopeful but probably false promise. But asking, "How are you dealing with it now?" reveals what they're actually willing to spend, whether it's time or money, to solve this problem today. So this whole collection of bad data, the opinions, the future promises, the generic claims, it has a name: fluff. Fluff is basically any statement that isn't anchored in a specific past event. It's friendly, it feels really good to hear, and it is completely useless for building a real business. These question starters are fluff magnets. Seriously, anytime you hear yourself begin a question this way, an alarm should just go off in your head. You're about to get a fluffy, useless answer. You got to catch yourself and then rephrase the question to ask about a specific moment in the past. But look, avoiding bad data is only half the battle. The true goal of these conversations isn't just to learn. It's about pushing for commitment. So let's think about this for a second. If compliments are totally worthless and all that fluff is useless, what signal are you looking for? What should you actually be asking for at the end of a good conversation? The answer is a real commitment. Real validation only happens when the other person gives up something that they value. The book calls these the 3 currencies of commitment. There's time, like scheduling a follow-up meeting. There's reputation, like getting an introduction to their boss. And then there's the ultimate validation, money, like a pre-order or a deposit. Here's the difference in black and white. A failed meeting, it ends with a nice compliment and really vague next steps. It's the kind of meeting where you walk away thinking, that went well, but nothing actually happened. A successful meeting ends with advancement. You have secured a concrete commitment that actually moves things forward. Okay, that's enough theory. Let's make this super practical. Here is a simple action plan with 3 concrete steps you can use in your very next conversation. Here are 3 simple but really powerful actions. First, before you talk to anyone, know the 3 most important things you need to learn. Plan your questions. Second, practice deflecting compliments. The next time someone says, "Oh, that's a great idea," I want you to pivot immediately by asking them about the last time they actually dealt with that problem. And third, always, always end by asking for a small commitment. Test if their interest is real or if it's just them being polite.
You know, the bottom line is this: stop guessing and start learning. Your goal isn't to be right. Your goal is to find the truth. And the only way you're going to do that is to have one truly honest customer conversation. So start today. Go find out what's really there.